Well, baby, I'm on it with a bottle of wine and an old Joe Roadie ready to go. On Live Music Nation podcast, my name is Jake. I'm your host. We are with Jerr McCutchen from the San Bar Courtyard in Orange Beach, Alabama. Jerr, thanks for coming on.
Yep, it's Jerr McCutchen.
Yeah. Okay.
People, it's a weird name, Jerr. People have, I've been telling people how to say my name for my whole life.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. How long have you been with the San Bar?
Well, we purchased the venue in February of last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so right before everything got real weird. It was kind of in conjunction with the restaurant that we've opened called Fresh Off the Boat. So we were working on that from October of 2019, and then we didn't get open until June because of the COVID shutdown and stuff. But San Bar itself is outside, and it's in the courtyard of San Roque Cay, and that's located in an entertainment district here in Orange Beach, and in Alabama. That's kind of an interesting thing. And it's an outside venue, weather dependent, which, we get a lot of rain down here. So we opened it in February, or bought it in February and started operating. And then, kind of started hearing a lot of murmurings about the whole COVID stuff. And then in April, just shut down. The whole state, kind of the whole country was shut down for the month of April. And that was real interesting. But we have kind of a unique footprint. And so what we were able to do was we were able to open earlier than everyone else and serve to-go drinks. So how that worked in Alabama was that people were able to serve off-premise. And so being that we're in an entertainment district, people could take the drinks off our premise, which is like kind of delineated, but we still had entertainment. And
Sure.
So people could hang out outside, kind of social distanced. And, it really gave a lot of people things to do down here that they weren't able to do anywhere else. So we made it through COVID, pretty well.
Yeah.
Down here. We opened, I think May 9th, reopened after the shutdown. And we had live music out there every day that, we could, based on weather, for
Sure.
the entirety of the year.
Fantastic.
So we kind of immediately went back to just normal operations.
Yeah. So you guys were
Now we weren't allowed to have people on the physical property for the bar.
okay. And you're back to full capacity now. Everything's
Oh yeah,
doing good. Good.
absolutely. We had a record-breaking year this year down here. I mean, the Gulf Coast has been surprisingly resilient to the whole COVID stuff, because most people come down here to, you can kind of be away from people at the beach. And so we were really blessed to have a outstanding year this year in 2021 out there in the courtyard.
Good. What are some things that you're going to keep in place that you utilized during COVID, and you're going to keep in place that for the future?
Well, I mean, we started serving to-go drinks, and that was kind of important. And that is something that we will continue to do. That's kind of like a big thing that people down here want. People come up by boat, and they're able to go up to the bar, grab a drink, listen to the band, take their drink with them, and hop back on their boat, which is kind of a really unique thing, especially in the state of Alabama. The state of Alabama is a more interesting state when it comes to liquor laws and stuff like that. So we have kind of a unique opportunity there. So we've been utilizing that. But that's probably the only thing from COVID that kind of a unique pivot that we did that will continue through.
Nice. All right, let's get into live entertainment. That's what I do, and that's what we're all interested to hear. What type of acts do you book, and what do you look for when you bring an act in?
All right, so country is kind of king down here. So, I try not to have an oversaturation of any one specific genre. I book a lot of different talents, of different music, from, indie Americana, folk, rock and roll, classic rock. We stay away from the harder, heavier rock and roll, but it's predominantly, I would say, country. We do a little pop. We do some like R&B, soul. We do some reggae bands too. But I would say 3 out of the 7 acts a week would be country.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool.
Or maybe even a little bit more depending.
What are your primary criteria when you're looking at country acts and bringing them in? What do you look for when you bring an act in?
So if I'm researching, we're kind of a small venue, so I'm not bringing in, larger. We're not doing ticketed events. It's not kind of like that. But I like to see a band have a live Facebook feed of their show.
Okay.
So when I'm looking at the show, I want to see a real, and I don't really so much care about the audio quality because I want to see the interaction. I mean, you can hear. It doesn't have to be like stellar recorded audio. I can kind of hear if people are on pitch or what the band's doing, how the energy level is, the whole show, how their crowd interaction is. That's what I look for is really solid entertainment overall. A lot of people can sing well, but we try to look for people that actually bring that next level of entertainment that, gets the crowd going, gets people dancing, gets people on their feet, helps us sell more drinks, which is, we're not charging a cover. So that's our only way of, making revenue and paying the band. So I'm looking for specific ways that they're engaging with the crowd and entertaining the crowd and keeping them, engaged and wanting to hear more and sticking around,
Very good. How much do you listen to feedback about your entertainment?
From customers?
Yeah.
I mean, we get a lot of great feedback. Some are a little older and they're like, well, they would kind of put, you get a lot of different feedback, and, filtering through that stuff is interesting. And I pay a lot of attention to it. Maybe with a grain of salt, just because, I know what, looking at what our numbers were, looking at how good of a time the whole crowd was having.
Yeah.
And we've kind of changed our venue around. Before we purchased it, they had very minimum entertainment, maybe 2 nights a week. And now we have it 7 nights a week, full bands, in season from, I would say from March through October.
What made you make that change? Is that something that you've just always wanted when you owned, or did you have an influence there? What made that change for you?
Well, my history, before I owned the bar and the restaurant, I was entertainment, the assistant director for the Floribama, and I was the director for the Hangout before that. And I've toured professionally. I was a sound engineer in production and worked for a large production company in Mobile. So I've always been in the music industry. So if we were having a bar and we're in a vacation spot where people want to listen to music and relax, that, there was no option to not have music. I just think that it was underutilized before we purchased it. So that was kind of my thoughts for how to go forward and really make it a really cool little scene that we have. Yeah,
very cool. All right, since you're an artist yourself and you've played music your whole life, give me your top 3 acts, the top 3 shows you've ever seen in your whole life.
Oh, man. I would say my first concert ever was the Eagle Hell Freezes Over tour. So that was a pretty spectacular experience and kind of stuck with me. I love that. I would say they're way up there. They're not maybe my favorite band overall, but as an experience, I was like 30 feet away from Joe Walsh, and that was like, amazing.
Right.
I think in a whole different musical experience was I was running monitors for Modest Yahoo.
Okay.
And I really dig what his backing band does. Are you familiar with Dub Trio? Stu Brooks is the bass player.
A little bit, no, but not much. No, my son is, but I'm not. Yeah.
So he's really interesting. Stu Brooks is like the musical director for Grizz. He did a huge big band show at Bonnaroo. He also helped Danny Elfman with his latest album and was like the producer on it.
Okay.
And that's the bass player behind Modest Yahoo. And he has Joe Tremino and a guy named Big Yuki from Japan, an incredible keyboard player. His fingers look like he's typewriting like classical, but he's like dancing and getting down, and it's just the most insane thing.
Nice.
Like that is a phenomenal experience, and I love that. And then let's see, I guess what would be another? I mean, there's so many. We did a show with Jamie Johnson at the Floribama that was really incredible. Tanya Tucker came up there and sang some songs one night. I mean, I've had Kenny Chesney. I mixed him for their No Shoes Nation radio. He and who else is it? He wrote the Floribama time with him and Dust on the Bottle. Dave,
yeah.
Dave,
I know where you're going.
What is his name? Why am I blanking on it? But I did that. I mean, 1,000 Horses were playing a show for us, and then they hung out the next day.
David Lee Murphy. There you go. Yeah.
David Lee Murphy. I was like, why am I? I'm like, I can only think of David.
Me too. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, David Lee Murphy. That was a really cool show. They play that on No Shoes Nation all the time.
Yeah,
which is cool because I mixed that.
So you're in a smaller venue now. You own this and the restaurant. It's a more intimate atmosphere. But if you could bring in one act, and charge whatever you needed to charge to make it happen, who would you bring in for an intimate show?
For an intimate show, I would, I would say it'd probably be Sturgill Simpson, or maybe like Tyler Childers is really popular right now, and I really love what he does. But Sturgill does some really incredible stuff, and I'm a big fan of him.
Okay.
It'd probably be something like that, because I'm not full country and I'm not full rock and roll. I kind of like, and Sturgill kind of does that in between, which
very cool.
Or my buddy the Steelwoods, they're really rocking awesome. Wes, the lead singer,
same genre. Yep.
Yeah. And he grew up down here, and that's kind of what I've been digging. Or honestly, I guess number one would be Chris Stapleton, because that's just, he's maybe the best vocalist that he's just incredible. Songwriting, all of that. Sure. Total package.
Well, it sounds like you just put together a pretty good festival right there, for sure.
Yeah. I wish that they would do a little country festival down here. So Hangout Fest obviously is a pretty large festival, and Mary Morris and King Brown, and there's some Paul Cuthan is playing it, and that's an interesting name and he's got some really good stuff going on. But I think it'd be cool if they did like a country version, like in September, and we did it like a bookend festivals, one before the season, one after the season.
Yeah. That's very cool. Very cool. All right. Let me throw this question at you, because we just got to talking. I'm thinking about this. Best advice you would give yourself 15 years ago?
Oh, get into the music business earlier than I did. Okay. I kind of, I went to Alabama. I was in a fraternity and learned about, live sound and all of that stuff there. And, I was a band and orchestra, like band nerd, played brass and stuff. Sure. And that was kind of my thing. And then I was like, well, I don't want to go be a band director. So I didn't go major in music. I majored in business, right? Which gave me a good background.
Yes.
But I wish I'd have gone and learned more about the technical side of music and, live sound reinforcement and recording and all of that way earlier in life. Because I was about 24 when I started getting into it, and I wish I'd have learned. I could have been learning that in high school, and I really wish they would do a little bit more knowledge instead of just like band is great, but they could, high schools could do a lot more to talk about like the other aspects of music business that you don't really know anything about until maybe in college or normally after college,
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. I think that's fantastic advice. And I think it's just when you're stuck into one educational system, like you said, there's your options are limited. But now, and especially COVID, I think you're going to see a lot of that happen at earlier ages for sure. You're going to see, I mean, you're already seeing kids mixing at home, producing at home. They're running full band shows out of their basement on TikTok, so I think that is on its way for sure.
Which is great. And that was something that wasn't there when I was in high school or middle school. And, technology has come a long way too.
Yeah.
Whereas, there wasn't even a digital board back then that you could do that with. I mean, you had to have a huge Pro Tools HD rig that was, cost prohibitive for a kid. But now you can get, an Apogee little Duo and have 2 inputs and, run an analog mixer into that. And then, have a great little interface that sounds great for your computer and learn how to broadcast and do all of that stuff, which is pretty awesome.
No, that's super cool. Jerr, I think what you're doing is fantastic. I hope that more people do what you're doing, and that is take multiple interests. You had an interest in music. You obviously had an interest in business, or you wouldn't have got out and got a degree in it. And you found a way to combine the two. And for guys like me who are providing full-time incomes for 4 musicians going up and down the road, that's huge. And I can't thank you enough for doing what you're doing. And you in your facility, it just sounds like you know what great entertainment is, how to provide a great venue, and now you're reaping the benefits of that. And you've got just customer base coming in left and right, and you found a way to cater to them. And I'm sure that look, it's just the culmination of everything that you have obtained through the years to make that happen. So I think what you're doing is fantastic. We actually did an interview.
Well, baby, I'm on it with a ball